Assalamualaikum and hello to those who are watching this video. My name is Nurashike binti Badr Kamal. I am the leader of this group. Together with me is my lovely group mates Iman Maria binti Muhammad Zaidi, Nur Safwana Hanisa binti Muhammad Hashim, Nur Iman Sufia binti Abdullah Sani, and Wardah Shafia binti Umar. In today's video presentation, we will be presenting our group project task number 2, which is about the impact and effect of popular apps like Instagram and TikTok upon the worldview of Islam among Muslims. So in today's video, we will present on the introduction part first, which will present by Iman Mariam, and then we go to the impacts by Iman Sufia and challenges by Wardah, and then we go to the methodologies and analysis of the group project, which will be presented by me. Safwana will present on the solutions, and to the end of the presentation, we look at the conclusion as well as the appendix and the references.
Moving on to the introduction of our case study, which consists of two things, which are what is Islamic worldview and what are Instagram and TikTok. Islamic worldview can be defined as a philosophical view of the world based on Islamic concept of life and reality. There are three fundamental elements that you should know of Islamic worldview, which are Tawheed, Khalifah, and also Adalah. As Islamic worldview is a theistic and also an ethical worldview, it opposed to ideas such as materialistic, naturalistic, and also secularistic. So, M. Kamal Hassan, who is a prominent Muslim scholar, defined Islamic perspective as a comprehensive concept of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, man, and also universe from the Tawhidic perspective, based on Al-Quran and Sunnah, and also intellect and senses. So now, moving on to what are Instagram and TikTok. We all know what is Instagram and TikTok. Instagram is basically a popular social networking apps which consists of making and also creating photos and videos. It currently has 1.21 billion users, which consists of 28% of the internet users of the world. Surprising, right? And secondly, what is TikTok? So TikTok is basically an app for making and also sharing very short videos. The videos are usually 30 seconds to 3 minutes. So TikTok currently has 1 billion users.
Nowadays, it is undeniable that mobile phones and apps have become an essential part in our daily life as we mostly depend on new technologies. With all of these new apps and inventions such as Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, it makes our life easier and it has a significant influence on our daily life. From booking a cab ride or navigating our way around, ordering food, and so much more, it seems everything is possible with these apps. However, too much accessibility can do more harm than good. So the real question is, what are the good and bad impacts of these popular apps to Islamic worldview? So firstly, looking upon the good impact of these popular apps on society, some of the internet users are wise enough to spread awareness through their social media. It brings an increased awareness about societal issues or current issues happening around the globe. Social media may be used to establish a platform of sharing stories and easily engage audiences by assisting them in understanding. Other users can show their support by sharing the content and tapping the like button, for example, on the issue of Israel and Palestinian conflict. Hundreds of Palestinian towns and villages were being destroyed. They have suffered greatly as a result of basic civil rights, and it is truly unfair for them. Here, people can be more aware of global issues and help each other by voicing out their own voices through social media, stopping the cruelty of others on these poor people. Therefore, raising awareness through social media definitely can be a good way of using these apps. Secondly, the good impact of these popular apps on young people. They are very familiar with the usage of apps. Islam has placed a high value on young people and has commanded Muslims to provide them with a proper education. Social media has allowed young Muslims in particular to engage with their faith and peers in ways that their parents could never have anticipated. Social media has torn down boundaries and allowed young Muslims to communicate regardless of their location. It allows them to debate what it means to be a good Muslim in the 21st century. By shaping them into a good Muslim at an early age, it can lead to be a better ummah, as well as future leaders' generation as a whole. As stated in Surah Al-Kahfi, verse 13, indeed they were youth who believe in their Lord and we increase them in guidance. These young people can be more capable and energetic than our older people. As a result, they will be more knowledgeable, especially in leading Islam later, and capable of everything. Thirdly, the good impact of these popular apps on religious matters. The use of social media in the pursuit of da'wah and the propagation of Muslim ideas has shown to be quite beneficial. Spreading da'wah is a major commitment for many Muslim and Islamic leaders especially in terms of communicating with the believers and the non-believers and winning their hearts and minds. For instance, Mufti Meng, an Islamic scholar, frequently shares Islamic views and advice on his Twitter. Sharing and reminding one another this behavior to lead to the Islamic Ummah's increase one faith. Besides, Islam highly value the act of sharing and reminding, as stated in Surah Al-Dariyah, verse 55, and remind for indeed the reminder benefits the believers. Here, Islam can be more known, respected, and understood by other religions from around the globe. So moving on to the bad impacts of these popular apps, firstly, it allows the criminals to engage in what is known as cyberstalking. It gives the opportunity to want to be more public about their private life because some people tend to share the details of themselves publicly. And this would allow everyone to view the matter of one published, especially on their private matters such as their complete name and email address. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala despises the act of stalking and one will be punished during the day of judgment. This kind of people are fed by too much information about our private life and use the information irresponsibly. So not everything should be posted publicly and make it known to others, especially on our private matters. It is best to share the content that brings benefits to all, and this limitation helps to keep our privacy and our safety from the outsiders. Secondly, misinformation. Fake news or article mostly spread by an irresponsible internet user. They intentionally create conflict and want to manipulate one's perception of truth. Islam has clearly despised the act of spreading false information. As stated in the Quran, and do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge, surely the hearing and the sight and the heart, all of these shall be questioned in the day of judgment. So when it comes to sharing information, especially online, we must be responsible, mindful, and cautious, as well as double checking the information and the source of it. And lastly, it creates an addiction on the users. These apps can affect of one physical and mental health. Some of the users use these apps to not feel alone, bored, and stressed out. When they get the dopamine after using social media, their brain recognizes this as a positive activity that they should do it again. This repetitive action creates an addiction and one will cannot live without it. Not just that, they will abandon their obligations in their daily life, especially the obligation towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These people become very addicted to the point that they cannot stay away from their social media accounts, checking them in an obsessive way for fresh posts and unable to break free from their routine. For instance, neglecting the Maghrib prayer to scroll down TikTok videos. So it is clear that these popular apps have a good and bad side of it. We have to be wise enough in using these apps.
So now I'll be talking about the challenges of using social media apps like Instagram and TikTok for us Muslim. So why is it called a challenges? It is a challenges for us because in this modern days it is very hard for a Muslim to abstain themselves from using social media because nowadays I think everything is shared in social media, including news, education, and even Islamic teaching. So from our survey, we found out that only 47.1% of people have Islamic content shown in their TikTok and Instagram's algorithm. So this means that less than half people have Islamic content in their algorithm. So not only that, it is worrying because these people are well aware that the content showed to them are contradicting with Islamic worldview and also well aware that Islam forbids those kind of contents. Okay, so the first challenges of using social media apps like Instagram and TikTok is it is one of the most time wasting activities. So TikTok's function and Instagram's new feature called Reels serve the same purpose of allowing its user to watch different type of contents in a short amount of time. So it actually sparks the interest of its user to scroll the TikTok pages even more, and unconsciously they don't realize that they actually have spent hours on TikTok. And not only that, because of its limited length of video, it actually decrease the attention span of oneself. Promotion of purity is the second challenges of using social media apps. So as we all know, Instagram allows its user to share pictures to be kept in there. However, one of the example of crudity that always happen in a Muslim society is revealing oneself's aura, and it is always overlooked by the uploaders. So Allah SWT said in Surah An-Nur verse 30, "Tell the believing men to reduce some of their vision and guard their private parts. That is pure for them. Indeed, Allah is acquainted with what they do." So both party, the one who upload the pictures and also the one who see the picture, are responsible to play their roles in guarding their vision and also be cautious of whatever they post on social media. So the last challenges of using social media is distorted Islamic teaching could happen to us. So since social media allows almost everyone to upload whatever content they want, hence even if she or he is not a skilled or a professional person, they can still propagate Islamic teaching even if people don't know if it's true or not. So in one of the most recent event that happened was a BBC interview with Sabrina Azhar, a Malaysian student that is currently studying abroad. So she is considered as an influencer on Instagram because she has thousands of followers because of her studies and also dancing skills. So she was mocked by netizens in her interview because she stated that her dancing videos did not create problems for anyone as long as she does not harm anyone. So she was mocked by netizens because the Muslims netizen know that dancing, especially performing it in public, is against the Islamic values, and because of her thousands of followers, people can easily get influenced by her statement. So that's all from me.
This group project was carried out by using two combination methods of research. That is, first, qualitative method, in which the content analysis is derived and conducted using library-based research by making reference to written materials such as books, journal articles, and news. The major references that can be seen here are the book written by Gary R. Byrne called I, Muslim, Rewiring the House of Islam, the journal article on understanding the principle of Islamic worldview, and news from BBC World Service. Next is quantitative method, where we carry out a survey using the Google form, and a total of 50 respondents of the survey and 10 interviews, which mostly conducted among Muslim students for this particular research, were conducted through online, which is Google Meet, and face-to-face with them in order to get their viewpoint on the usage of this particular popular apps with their worldview of Islam for the purpose of data collection. The objective of this methodology is to identify the awareness towards this impact and effect of Instagram Live and TikTok on whether they are able or not to differentiate on the good and negative sides of the said apps. From the survey, the majority of the respondents are the daily consumers, as it was recorded that they are using the apps every day with no time limits, while the rest, which is equivalent to 3 people only, who never use the apps and limit themselves on the usage on the said apps. Moreover, for the usual content that appears on the account is worrisome, as only 24 respondents selected Islamic content, placing them in 6th place. The most chosen ones are funny contents, followed by trends that is vary from local or Western trends, in which some of those trends mostly involve arousing body movements, reviews on foods, shopping items, places, etc., as well as educational contents are also on the top of contents that are usually being displayed on the accounts. Same goes to fashion contents and later followed by Islamic. However, horoscope and tarot reading also came in 7th place for the usual contents, which is very worrisome despite the number is lower than others because it is clearly against the Tawhid concept in the worldview of Islam. Other chosen contents that were also being picked are K-pop, games, films, and animes, which falls under the category of entertainment that can be overlooked by Muslims as the creator of this such content are non-Muslim. Nevertheless, only half the respondents were aware and realized most of the content displayed are against the Islamic worldview, while the remaining others did not think the same nor aware of the negativity. While for the interview, majority of them use these apps every day and even agree that some of the contents are contradictory to the Islamic worldview, but regardless of this, they cannot do much as it was a commercial app developed by and monopolized by non-Muslims. As a result, it is entirely up to the consumer to use it by deciding what kind of content they want to see, as the algorithms of these popular apps are based on the user's preference. They also mentioned that most of the content that went viral and viewed are not in line with Islamic worldview, such as LGBT, ikhtilat issue like dating, pornography, and many more. This type of content have been popped up a lot for others to normalize it, including Muslim insulting many Muslims to be influenced with it and end up committing it. Nevertheless, the respondents have gave their own suggestions, such as providing an extension or to restrict those type of content, such as Muslim-friendly filter, having a Muslim department, and creating a special section on this app specifically for Muslim. But one of the people that have been interviewed said that Muslims should take this matter into their own hand and shall not depend on this developer because all they want is profit and money. In short, it can be examined that indeed these popular apps have a big impact and effect on Muslim, especially on Muslim faith. That's it from me. Now I'm going to pass the slide to the next presenter.
So this is a solution that can be done to ensure that apps like Instagram and TikTok to be more in line with Islamic worldview. So the first one is by the developer. So what a developer can do is form a department of the religious sensitivities that focus on creating awareness about the sensitivity of the religious content. So as for now, whenever we scroll TikTok, there's a question that pop ask whether we like seeing the content or not. So what a developer can do now is to ask the user whether the content that they are seeing is opposed of Islamic teaching or not. So by doing this, it can ensure that TikTok algorithm is in line with Islamic worldview. And also for the content creator, so what a content creator must do is to first verify any information before they post it. This is because on Instagram for now, there's a lot of people they spread fabricated hadith. So as we know, fabricated hadith is very dangerous because it gives false justification against Prophet Muhammad SAW. So content creator now, before posting anything, they need to check the authenticity of the hadith first, as the failure to do so, it can taint the pure image of Islam. And then to become a content creator who spread the teaching of Islam, they need to have a proper knowledge of Islam, because this day there's a lot of people in TikTok, they actually do not have the proper knowledge of Islam, but they still take the opportunity to answer the question about Islam. And most of the time when they answer when they think it is fit for them. And this is very dangerous because even the Prophet companion avoid it, because they know that making religious judgment without having sufficient understanding can cause someone to enter into the hellfire. And lastly is the consumer. So what a consumer must do is not to believe in anything too quickly, because there are several serious consequences by doing so. So this is why it is important to verify sources, and even if there's slight amount of uncertainty, it is better to avoid it. And lastly, content consumers are advised to spend less time on social media, because according to data, it is said that average people spend time on social media is 52 minutes, which is almost 1 hour. And as a Muslim, time is the most precious resources for us, and we as a Muslim need to use our time wisely, because our performance in both will depend on how we allocate our time.
In conclusion, we could see that both of these apps have its own bad and good impacts on human being. It could make one's life easier, and it could also deteriorate one's well-being. From here, we could apply what we have learned regarding Islamic worldview, which is the concept of wasatiyah, or the concept of moderation. Allah have mentioned regarding the concept of wasatiyah or moderation in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 143, where Allah stated, "And thus we have made a moderate community. We have made a wasat community." Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said that always do good deeds sincerely, properly, and moderately. Adopt to a middle, moderate, regular course whereby you will reach your target. How do we adopt a middle way of using social media? by using social media for educational purposes and also for spreading awareness and not being addicted to social media. Hence, by practicing wasatiyah when using these social media apps, we could maximize its benefits without being negatively affected by its bad impacts and also effects. Thank you. So this is the appendix for our case study. We have pasted a few pictures over here which consists of the interview sessions, the BBC posting of Sabrina Azhar on Twitter, and also the articles of the title The Impact of Social Media on Muslim Society from Islamic Perspective, and also the understanding of principles of Islamic worldview, and lastly is the I-Muslims Rewiring the House of Islam by Gary Byrne. We have used all of these sources or resources to help us understand as well as write our case study. So over here we have the references that we have referred to for our case study. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 references that we have used. I think that's all from us. Thank you.